my waveforms look so much better. I just fiddled with the knob, and now it's like
congratulations, Leon.
Oh God! I mean, I look. It's always a struggle to get good audio. I'm dealing with a few like environmental issues that make it difficult, but yeah, I'm happy with this.
You see, I get that when you change locations, it takes you a little while to normalize again. Mm-hmm. You know, like even I've got like, I don't know, 63 different things plugged into my computer. I have access to like 4 different microphones or some shit like that, and there's like 2 Oculus sensors and a bunch of wireless controllers. So whenever my setup changes for whatever reason, you know, like if I have to change microphones because I'm talking to my spaceship in Elite Dangerous or something like that, I'm always like going back. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure these were the settings. So like when you move house and stuff like that, I get it. But you know, when it's just like, I don't know how, when you've been where you are for like a couple of months.
Yeah, I figured my shit out. My shit is officially figured out.
That's great. I'm very happy for you. It's a warm feeling. Austin, before you came back from getting yourself a beverage, Leon and I were speaking.
How is that going?
We were both using English, so it worked out.
Nice.
Yep.
Not that like there's anything special about English. I'm just saying that if one of us was speaking English and the other was speaking Cantonese or, you know, Mandarin or Russian or something like that, it would have been a little more difficult. Mm-hmm. But do you think that people get more boring as they get older, or they get more interesting? Or are you just generally uninterested in people altogether, and you're like, I don't care how old you are, get the fuck out of my face?
I just don't think there's necessarily a correlation. I've met a lot of boring-ass people of every age group, race, gender, and religion. A lot of people suck in the world, and a lot of people are cool, and there's not really much necessarily that puts them into groups. It'd be really cool and efficient if it was that way, though.
I'm not saying there's like a tipping point that like when you turn 33, automatically, suddenly you become an interesting person. I'm just saying that I happen to think that as you accumulate more life experience and are exposed to more things, that can't help but make you a more interesting person.
Oh, it definitely can. I mean, there's some boring, fucking useless ass old people, and then there's some really dope, like cool, awesome, bitchin' old people. Like, I don't think that there's any way to know before you talk to them. Like, it could be a secret cool old person, or it could just be like the worst, most terrible racist old person, and it's just a gachapon machine every time you talk to them.
Yeah, Johnny. When you say like you accumulate all this knowledge, that would make someone a more interesting person, but that presupposes that person would be doing that.
I'm not suggesting that all people, like, as they age are like, you know, they you don't automatically get these experiences.
A lot of people spend their entire life going out of their way to not pick up any new information or become nicer and more interesting.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, without life experience, the chances of you encountering these, you know, like stimulating situations or pieces of information or, you know, things that would make interesting anecdotes, it's pretty slim. Like, you know, a 12-year-old is not going to have as many interesting experiences as somebody who's like 50.
I mean,
I don't know, Johnny. I hear that kids say the darndest things.
I was just gonna say, I can think of like a bunch of artists who got started in like their teens and are like super fucking talented, like in ways that doesn't really make any logical sense. Like the first one that came to mind was Avenged Sevenfold, who is a metalcore band who I think got a record deal when they were like 17 or something.
You didn't mean like Mozart?
I mean, I'm not ragging on Avenged Sevenfold, but I'm like, that's the front of the line for you.
I can't control what was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, obviously.
All right.
He went in alphabetical order, and it starts with that.
Yeah, all right, there we go.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of classic composers who I guess were like wunderkinds or whatever, but I'm honestly...
Like Amadeus Mozart, who, if you were going by the first name, would have come before Avenged Sevenfold, but I'm not judging here, so...
Yeah, but I'm always skeptical of like stuff from the like older time periods where it's harder to verify because I feel like they're always exaggerating shit on the sly.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody stank back then because they didn't have showers, so we can't believe the things that they said.
Yeah.
The great Mozart stank conspiracy.
Big Smell doesn't want you to know, but all of the founding fathers and all the people who made the world beautiful and wonderful were smelly motherfuckers.
They're just awful, like B.O. City.
Shakespeare, odious.
Oh yeah, yeah, like vinegar and rotten eggs, just like everywhere. And that's not even getting into what his breath smelled like.
George Washington was butt crack city, my folks. I'm sorry.
Even as far back as like the turn of the century, you know, like the 20th century, just like awful. Like Tesla,
Yeah.
Tesla, Tesla smelled like an old stage wig.
That one's probably true because he was notoriously like eccentric about his personal habits. He probably did not smell great. Unlike Benjamin Pitt-Stains Franklin, who there's a reason they called him that.
Who, despite his body odor, apparently was quite successful with the ladies. But that's only because they stank too.
Yeah, I was saying the bar is subterranean.
We're equal opportunity complainers about body odor here. So
yeah. Marie Antoinette, open sewer.
Yeah, I hear a lot of like superstitious stuff about Rasputin, but what doesn't come up often is that his stink lines were visible to the human eye.
You know what's funny?
A lot of people mistook his like hypnotic stare. The world would kind of go hazy and things like that. No, that was just straight up air pollution.
What's funny is that this is a good goof, but it's actually kind of how medical treatments worked for a while. There was this idea of miasma, that there's something like that bad smells kind of correlated to sickness, and that people got sick because of these miasmas that were in the air. And so like for a while medicine was like potpourri and stuff, and yet they never
go get some fresh air in the country.
Yeah, that's totally a thing. Yeah, go to some other climate with less pollution, which probably was unintentionally effective in some ways, but they were for some reason very anti-bath, and I think that had a lot to do with like Puritan religious standards. And of course this is Western medicine I'm speaking to, but like the idea of getting naked was more scandalous than dying of whatever disease was caused by your filth.
Yeah, you needed to be wearing at least 3 suits at all times.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It was some royalty, some king or something, like bragged that he only ever bathed like twice in his life or something. There's a bunch of shit like that. Old-timey history is bananas and disgusting. Is that what the show's about? No?
I mean, it can be.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't have too many topics this week. I beat a video game and then I started another video game, but I don't have too much to say about said video games.
I played video games.
The one that you beat or the one that you started?
Both. I played Bastion. I've already talked about how I like smashing things, and then I smashed things, and then the game gave me a choice to reset the world and help everyone, or be like comparatively selfish, or maybe not. And I decided to save the world. I went with that option, and then I was like, those are the credits, and I am done now. And that was it. And I enjoyed my time with it. And then I started playing Beyond Good and Evil, and I get the feeling I'm going to like this even more, because I already like the characters.
Yeah, it's a classic. I love Beyond Good and Evil.
I don't have much more to say about it yet, though. You know, it's video games. You know, I don't talk at length about them.
Again, I'm gobsmacked, Leon, that you're like you're systematically working your way through like a collection of classics that I love, and you're like, this is great, this is great, this is great, this is great, and I'm like, where was this Leon a year ago? What have you done?
I'm the new Leon, the Leon that gives a shit.
There's like one or two parts of Beyond Good and Evil that haven't aged super well. There's one with like a boat you have to pilot, and there's another part with some like stealth stuff that I wasn't super enthused with. But besides that, it's actually like one of the better Zelda games. It's just like has a lot of atmosphere. Both Bastion and Beyond Good and Evil have phenomenal soundtracks.
Okay.
Can't get enough of those.
The only problem I've had with Beyond Good and Evil so far is I was like, how do I save? And I had to look it up. It was harder than I expected, but now I think I've got the hang of it.
Nice.
So. There's that.
I've been
No, that's it.
I've been playing a video game. It's the one that everybody's been talking about this week. Fire Emblem Heroes for mobile phones.
How much money did you spend? How much money did you spend? Did you spend money?
Zero.
What a vulgar question, Johnny.
I have spent $0 so far. I honestly thought about throwing in some just to support Nintendo, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. But this is a very distilled version of Fire Emblem. It's turn-based, grid-based strategy with anime characters and generic fantasy setting. There's essentially no story. Like the story is like, we're having a crossover event, let's fight. Like that's it. There's nothing else. The lot of the stuff that I love about Fire Emblem, like the romance stuff, the inner character stuff, the writing and stuff, that's just not there, and that's okay because that's not what this is. This is kind of getting casual people onboarded to the gameplay part of Fire Emblem. Moving guys on a grid, sword beats axe, axe beats lance, lance beats sword, arrows beat flying guys. Like that's what it's teaching you, and that's fine. For what it is, it's a great onboarding of people onto Fire Emblem. I know a bunch of people who've never played one before who got on. They like it a lot. And then the gachapon character thing is kind of new to the West. It's like every game in Japan, but the way the game works is every mission you beat, you get an orb, and you can spend money to buy orbs, and then you can put orbs into kind of essentially like a slot machine, and you get characters out of it, which are rated 3 to 5 stars. 5 stars being the best, and you want 5-star characters. Those are the ones that are going to win the kind of high-level maps. You're going to need 5-star guys, but you're not guaranteed them, so you got to keep putting orbs into this machine, and eventually you run out because you only get one for each mission, and there's a finite amount of missions. So then you have to start spending money. I beat all the story missions.
That's how they get you.
That is exactly how they get you. Otherwise, they don't make any money.
Right.
But I made it through the whole game without spending any money. I considered dropping some just because I like to support people, but I had a problem. I don't know if it's my phone or what, but it kept crashing, and I kept having to uninstall and reinstall the game, and I don't want to put money into something that I might lose access to. That would be a super big bummer. But I liked what I played of it for what it is. It does not have any of the features that bring me to Fire Emblem, but what is there is fine for what it is. I think it's Nintendo's best mobile game. I think Miitomo and Pokemon Go sucked, and Super Mario Run is what it is. I'm not like jazzed with it. It's whatever. This is a good game. This is a perfectly good small strategy game. Like it distills what it is to play Fire Emblem moment to moment, and it's colorful and bright and inviting, and that's all it needed to be. And it's that, so that's cool. I could get more like specific about like, oh, they didn't include characters from Fire Emblems 9 and 10. I really miss Ike. Like, but no one cares. Like, there's like fanboy nitpicks and stuff. Like, oh, there's this like 7 different currencies. It's confusing. Like, who cares? But the takeaway is it's good. It's free. Try it. And if you like, after that, it's up to you. Do you want to spend money? Do you want to keep with it? Like, I think it's a perfectly safe, fun, reasonable investment for anyone, even if you've never played Fire Emblem or if you tried it and you hated it. I think this is like fun. It's a fun game. You guys cool. You guys should try it, so at least you can say you've played Fire Emblem.
I'll consider it. Maybe. I mean, it's free, and I do like things that are free.
Yeah.
I'll probably think about it briefly, like as I'm going to bed tonight, and then forget.
Great.
I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, I got a 5-star Roy, and he was my boy, and we did very good. I didn't get any other 5 stars until I beat the game, until I beat the last story mission, at which point I pulled a 5-star Lynn, which is the character I wanted from the very beginning. If you follow me on Twitter, before the game was coming out, I was like posting pictures of the Fire Emblem poll that Nintendo was running and be like, everybody vote for Lynn, she's the best. And I got her, but there's nothing else to do with her now, which is kind of a bummer. And there's all these like memes going around. I don't know if you saw Kotaku did an article earlier about a guy who spent $1,000 on the game and has yet to get the character he was trying to get, which is Hector. Which is brutal. I think there's a 3% chance of pulling him, and just no dice, man. But he's very good though. Hector is unkillable. There's a webcomic called Awkward Zombie, which is one of the more famous video game webcomics, which has a comic about Hector, which came out like 10 years ago, about he basically just wades through battle getting impaled, and it doesn't even phase him. It's very funny. Hector's cool. but like everybody I know is playing it now, and they don't have any frame of reference. They don't know who any of these characters are, and they're just like, "Ooh, this guy looks cool. I'm doing good."
And you're, of course, explaining it all to all of them in excruciating detail.
I'm trying.
For hours at a time.
Yeah, my buddy Clam, he picked it up. He got a 5-star Takumi, who is probably one of the strongest characters in the history of Fire Emblem, both in the game he's from and in this one. And he was like, "Oh, look, this guy." And I was like, "Dude, like, you don't even realize, like, he is death incarnate. He just shits on fools, like, all day, every day. Just totally wrecks their lifestyles." I was like so jealous of his 5-star Takumi. And he didn't even know who he was, and I was trying to explain. I was like, he's from this noble house, and he has insecurity problems. But listen, in one round of the game, he's just nodding politely. All right, so I'm gonna.
That's my Austin.
I also tried some other video games, but if someone else wants to talk for a while, I'll take a break here.
I have something to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to alarm you guys, but I just made a penny appear from nothing, and I'm afraid. So that just happened.
You're a wizard now.
Yeah. Basically, what happened was I wanted to just adjust my headphones that I wear while I'm doing this, and I took it off my ear and I put it back on, and then a penny fell on the floor. But you gotta understand, it didn't fall off anything because I'm on the floor, okay? But it fell from somewhere, and I don't know what just happened. So it was either in my shirt, which is weird in and of itself, and my sleeve flipped it out, or it was in my headphone for no reason, or funny third thing.
That's the structure of a joke.
So I don't know what just happened. I mean, I wish it were more money, because that would be useful. Pennies are basically useless.
Did you encounter any birthday clowns in your day today?
I have not. Not today, anyway.
Are pennies still circulated and manufactured in the United States?
There's pennies still exist, and they are still used. Mm-hmm. But there's this weird thing that's going on with pennies where I go to like grocery stores or convenience stores. If I owe them a penny, they'll be like, "Nah, just go." Which didn't used to be a thing, and that's cool, I guess. Where it's like, if I need to give them 2 more pennies, they're like, no, you don't, or they round up. They just round up to things, and give me it back.
Canadians did away with the penny. We don't.
Yeah.
The penny is not part of our currency anymore. So I'm just trying to gauge how creepy it is that you made a penny appear. Because if they weren't in circulation in the United States, like they're not here, I'd be like, that's interesting.
Yeah, if you made a $2 bill appear, that would be crazy because they exist, but they're super rare.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore, but they are still legal tender. It's always weird when I have a $2 bill because I instantly want to get rid of it. Because whenever I have to pay with it somewhere, someone always looks at it to make sure it's real for like an uncomfortable long time, you know.
Because if you're gonna forge currency, do the one that's most suspicious.
Right. It's like, oh, let's look. I don't know.
Just go into the fucking Dollar General with a fat stack of 2s.
Daddy's home.
Yeah.
The thing is, but I guess because I'm such a penny pincher, pun not intended. When someone doesn't give me my pennies back when I buy something, they owe me a penny. This doesn't cut both ways, everyone. I mean, I'm fine with you giving me pennies, but I'm not okay with you taking mine. I mean, I'm sorry if that's selfish, but it's true. You got to give me my penny back, and I will wait and look at you until you get the idea.
No.
Because I don't want to say out loud, "Where's my penny?"
I can't follow you down this path, Leon. When I used to work at a marina, we had like a jar on the counter, so when people like paid and it came to like whatever 5 cents, they would just throw the change in there. Because there's no point in carrying around loose change with you in the year 2012 or whatever year that was. And
I pay tolls all the time, so I have to.
I mean, maybe that's geographic. We didn't really have that where I was, but we wouldn't like take those coins home like psychopaths. We would just throw them at each other for fun.
All right, first of all,
they're useless.
That's insane.
They might as well be pebbles.
And second of all, I save up my change, and then once a month I go to the Coinstar machine, and I get like $30 to $35 out of it.
I mean,
and
the Coinstar takes such a huge cut. You'd be just as like
it takes like 10. It takes 10%.
You'd be better off collecting acorns and then smashing them into a kind of gruel paste and just eating that to save grocery money.
Coinstar takes 10%. At least it does in my local supermarket. It's not a big deal. But anyway, I mean, $35 does not sound like a lot of money, and it isn't. But that's like my credit card bill, minimum payment for the month. So I'm like, okay, well, thank you, pennies.
I'm 26 and I still don't have a credit card. Is that worse?
That's okay.
Is that good or bad? I don't know anymore.
It's
It
actually
really
not
depends.
weird.
Okay.
I didn't have one in my 20s. Me having a credit card is like a recent development. The way I lived my life was always to do so in such a way that I would never accrue debt, and so that I would just always live carefully within my means. But recently, I was like, I need to buy a whole lot of furniture, and oh look, I have good enough credit that I can get a credit card and not have any like interest on it for like a year and a half, and I can pay that off way sooner than that. So why don't I just do that instead of destroying my bank account? So that's what I did. But no, it's not weird to not have a credit card, but you need to establish credit in some way early on. I did so with car payments. There are other ways, is what I'm saying.
I've had a moment to analyze my emotions on the subject, and I can now say, Leon, I'm not entirely alarmed that you made a penny appear out of nowhere. If you ever manage to make more than one appear at the same time, get back to me. I'll have to have a look at my feelings again.
Yeah.
I don't have I'm not like swimming in pennies all over my apartment. They're kept in a jar.
You're not Scrooge McDuckin' it?
No. That first of all, that's not hygienic, and second of all, dangerous, and third, that's just silly.
It wouldn't be the only non-hygienic thing that people do, though.
It wouldn't be the only non-hygienic thing that I do in my own
wait,
apartment.
is that the bar?
I'm still not going to.
He just like that was his first one. He's like, first of all, that's unhygienic. I'm like, because nobody, we're not all dirty motherfuckers here, Austin.
I'm not swimming in my own shit in my apartment. Okay, I keep it relatively clean.
You're not smelling a George Washington. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I smell like lovely perfume. Thank you very much. No, but no, I keep things pretty clean in here. I didn't always when I was depressed. I did not keep things clean. That is a common side effect and symptom and warning sign. But now that life is great, things are just lovely.
I hear that a lot, but for me, like, cleaning is one of the simplest ways to get like a superficial satisfaction and happiness, because it's a very manageable thing that you can accomplish in a short amount of time, which produces like tangible, like verifiable results. And I realized that there's like some books that have been written about this recently. I haven't read them, but like it's the idea that just like tidying up your shit or throwing stuff away is therapeutic, is like hitting the mainstream in a way recently. And it's like, that's something I've always kind of taken for granted. And I'm like annoyingly fastidious, as we've kind of just talked about before on the show. And that's like, I guess, self-care in a way. I don't know. So
no, that makes sense. What I mean is that like when I felt awful about everything, I didn't want like the idea that like things being cleaner would be helpful. Just it sounded very foreign to me. So I sort of went the other route with that. But now everything's lovely. I have tapestries in my home, and they are very, very beautiful, I think. And I clean and I sweep, and I have a couch that's nice, and I have a bookcase that I will build once the rest of my books come.
So right now you just have some wood.
I have some wood and some other screws and things.
Right.
It's just sitting there, but the books are late. My other books are late. And I don't want to make a bookcase that's like half full, because that looks stupid.
Late from what? Or late to what?
Late to me. I don't mean that like the books are like that they're on like a different time zone. I mean that I have I wanted hard copies of the books that I usually read online, philosophy books that are like in the public domain. They're like centuries old.
Right.
but I wanted hard copies of them. So I was like, because that would be useful. So I did. I was like, oh, you know what? Why don't now that I'm going to have all these hard copies of books, why don't I have a bookcase that will look nice in my nice home? And I have the bookcase, and my books are like very late getting here. Like most of them did not. So I'm like talking to the company, like what gives? They're just books.
They're en route.
You would think so.
Ish.
One would hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
So books, those are cool. You guys want to talk
Yeah,
about? You guys want to dip back into video games for a second? Because I played some other video games, and I also have Lost stuff.
Yeah,
You
I
go
love
right
video
ahead.
games.
Okay, so when I downloaded Fire Emblem, I thought, while I'm here,
I should play other Fire Emblem.
Now I've played all the Fire Emblems, but I was on the Google Play Store on my phone, and I was like, let's grab some other shit and see how phone games are, because everyone I've tried is pretty bad. So I went on a little adventure. I downloaded the Magic the Gathering game, Duels of the Planeswalker.
Yeah.
And I downloaded the Yu-Gi-Oh game, Duel Links, I believe it's called.
Right.
And I played those. And I'm here to report that Magic the Gathering remains terrible in video game form. I've dipped my toes into that pool a couple times.
And then you ditched them both and have become a Hearthstone addict?
I like Hearthstone a lot. I stopped playing when I got to the paywall, but that's an old ass episode of this show. I think I talked about playing Hearthstone. That's a good game. It's very good. Even if I don't really actually like the lore of Warcraft or any of Blizzard stuff really, but the game is incredibly well designed and the presentation's fantastic.
Anyways, Magic the Gathering, garbage.
Yeah, so Magic is a fun card game, but it just does not seem to translate to video games. There's actually a bunch of different Magic video games. There's just Magic the Gathering Online. There's Duels of the Planeswalkers. There's something called, like, Duels or something. I don't remember exactly what it is. That one's for Xbox and Steam, I think. And part of the problem is that the game doesn't translate super well because there's all these phases that every turn goes through, and everyone, like, your opponent gets a chance to respond. So when you're playing physically, that just means when you throw a card down, they can throw a card down. That's like whatever. But in the game, it means it constantly has to stop and start. And like there's like loading bars everywhere. And that's really frustrating. And also the games don't run very well. It's like just not very good as a game. And then there's just the problem that they seem to be kind of low budget, poorly presented, just ugly games. So I don't really have anything nice to say about any of those except to say that if you had never played before and you wanted to learn the rules quickly, it's free. But I much prefer the physical card game.
That's a ringing endorsement. Now, tell me about Yu-Gi-Oh!
The Yu-Gi-Oh game is the exact opposite of the spectrum. It's super high budget. It's slick as fuck and is like has a million features. I was actually overwhelmed when I turned this game on. I was like, holy crap, this is like a lot of game in here. There's like this entire like economy and there's all these subsystems and stuff. I actually haven't gotten deep enough really to talk too much about it, except to say that Yu-Gi-Oh translates very well to video games. I've actually played Yu-Gi-Oh video games before, and they're pretty good. Like this is it's a simpler game. There's limited interactions that you can do on your opponent's turn. There's trap cards, obviously, but it's more freeform. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's not as cumbersome, and the game just runs better on my phone. So I actually don't really have anything negative to say about the Yu-Gi-Oh game so far. It seems pretty cool. I like seeing all the old anime characters. They got the voice actors from the TV show back. It's a lot. I'm kind of digging that game. So I don't know if I'll say anything about that when I play more of it, but that's a thing. I was pleasantly surprised by. And not all mobile games suck, guys. Fire Emblem Heroes seems pretty cool. Hearthstone's on phones, and Yu-Gi-Oh seems pretty good. So,
all right. So there's three.
There's
three
exactly
good
three.
mobile games.
No, there's obviously more. I'm just not super into them. There's Monument Valley. Fucking Angry Birds is fine. What's that?
They're so derivative.
Oh, John.
Is the problem that I have with mobile games. They are so derivative. Like one look at a game and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get that. I also don't like. I also don't like. Nothing specifically about the games, but I think it's ridiculous how they get publicized. I see mobile games get advertised for how addicting they are.
Yeah,
They're like, this is so addicting. I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. Go away.
Watching the Super Bowl this year was like being transported to a dimension where the only video games that exist are mobile games, and apparently they all have live action celebrities in them, which they totally fucking don't. Advertising mobile games feels like their tactics should be illegal because everyone's like, hello, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm in this game. Play it, idiot. But then when you download it and it's like just like a bunch of menus and shit or whatever, like all these games have the same generic ass names and they play like fucking browser shit from the mid 2000s and they all make $1 billion a minute. Maybe. Uh-oh, guys, are we old? Are we old and out of touch?
I don't know. Get off my lawn.
Ugh.
I'm playing a video game from 2003.
But Beyond Good and Evil is dope.
I know. It is fun.
It's
Yeah.
actually really good. It has a cool, interesting world. It has politics, cool music, animal people, interesting lady journalist protagonist. It's good shit.
I like her sensible clothes.
Yep,
It's a refreshing change of pace.
So law stuff this week. I just have to start this up before I give you guys cases. I have to tell you a small anecdote. At the end of last week's classes, we're working on a brief for a case that we have to act as the defense for. And it's a drug case, like someone, it's not real, but like someone got busted with marijuana and we have to like act as their defendant or, the defender.
How much?
A lot.
What were they selling it for?
No, they had bought it.
Oh, yeah. At what rate, though?
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I may have missed part of this. Who bought marijuana?
The defendant in this case that's not real that we're working on as part of school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. So we were talking about it in class, and the professor said to like come up with like a short encapsulation of your defense, like almost like
what strain?
Johnny's just gonna keep doing this to me. She said like a tagline.
Look, I just want to know how much of a crime this was. Okay,
it's not relevant, and my story is falling to bits.
I'm sorry.
So the point of this exercise was to come up with like a tagline, kind of like the example was like in the OJ case, like if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Right. So to come up with like a short encapsulation, like a thematic statement, she said, think of it like a tweet.
Right.
So I sent her in an email. This is the entire email I sent. All caps, fascist police state, #420, #blaze it.
I'd say that's worth at least a B.
So that happened on Friday of last week. I came into class Tuesday this week. I walk in the door and projected on the screen in the front of the class is my email in front of everybody on the projector, which is like an enormous thing that takes up the whole front of the classroom, is my email. All caps, fascist police state, #420, #blaze it. So that's how my week started.
Wonderful.
I don't think that's actually going to fly for the assignment, but I'm not kicked out of school, so that's good.
I assume that means your professor found it amusing and was not actually shaming you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm not like an idiot. If I didn't think she would think it was funny, I wouldn't have done it. Yeah, everyone's super cool. One of my professors built a catapult and fired it during class.
Cool.
Like, built it in class?
No, they had it pre-built.
They wheeled it in.
So did you just walk into class one day and there was a fucking catapult just like sitting in your lecture hall?
No, there was like a paper mache cardboard model of a boat, and he was using it to demonstrate like it was about like crossing certain water barriers and like what counts as trade and commerce.
Okay, first of all, before you continue, I need to clarify one thing, or else my excitement is going to take a huge hit.
Okay.
Was this a miniature catapult?
Yes.
Oh.
What did you think? It was a trebuchet?
No, because a trebuchet and a catapult are two different things, but I thought it was a catapult.
It's mechanically a catapult. And so, yeah, so they're like, what, does it count if they cross the water? What if they stop at the border and people get off and swim across? What if this? What if that? And he says, what if they transported people like this? And he like hit a button that was hidden inside the ship, and there was a catapult hidden inside of it, and it like fired a paper ball into the seats. It was pretty cool. He's a cool dude.
Well, wouldn't that be airspace then? Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So, Jewish guy, he's dying. It's very sad. Oh. His rabbi comes to his house and says, I'm sorry you're dying. Do you have anything you want to take care of before you go? Dying Jewish guy says, I would like to donate $25,000 to the temple.
Right.
Sweet.
Then he dies.
Oops.
But he does not donate or sign anything. He does not change his will.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the temple sues his estate to get that $25,000 donation.
Shit.
Do they get it?
No.
Is there any? Let me ask this question before you said it wasn't, the will was not changed. Mm-hmm. Is there any evidence or even a witness whatsoever that could corroborate the story?
Oh, like a dozen witnesses, and apparently they had like multiple conversations about this. It's like
okay, so there are completely like acceptable witnesses who all are familiar with this fact.
Yeah, on both sides. Everyone's seen it. Everyone heard this. That's not a question.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because in my mind that changes things. Because when you said it wasn't in the will, I thought that meant no evidence. Okay.
I think the concept of lightning round is still eluding you a little bit, Leon.
It's fine.
I have thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I bet they don't get it, but I think they should.
So that's 2 no's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would like to be wrong though.
No, you guys are right. They don't get it. To make a promise enforceable, it's not enough just to say you're going to do it. There is such a thing as oral contracts, but there's more needed. Specifically, you need to have consideration on both sides. Like, you need to be like, I'm donating X for Y, usually. And this is obviously to protect people from taking advantage of other people or creating some kind of fraudulent situations. And also, things need to be in writing.
Because when has the church, any church, ever... All right. That was the noise that I wanted.
Wow. That means Austin says, oh no.
No, it's just, also things need to be in writing when they get over a certain dollar amount. But yeah, I very much wanted to raise my hand and say, was somebody confused about how Judaism works? Because there's no indulgences. Like, you can't just buy your way into the Jewish afterlife. That's not, okay. But I did not. Okay. Next case. This guy, his uncle tells him, I think it's on his 18th birthday, if you don't drink, smoke, curse, or gamble until your 21st birthday, I'll give you $5,000. And this is old-timey, so that's like a ton.
Just tells him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once again, witnesses, there's no question that this happened. On his 21st birthday, he sends his uncle a letter saying, like, I did it. His uncle says, cool, I'm putting it in this bank account, and we'll have to, like, confirm it. It's like not yours right now. We'll get to it. There's some paperwork. But he dies. So does the guy get it?
No, the bank takes it.
I imagine if there's no, going by what we just talked about, I would think that the answer would also be no.
Look, it's in very short terms, Leon, it goes like this. America is a system designed so that it's very difficult for you to give money to somebody else. It is designed to keep money where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that if he doesn't have ownership of the account, then I would think that he wouldn't get it.
So that's 2 no get?
No get.
All right, so this is actually, you guys got the first one right. You got this one wrong.
Ooh.
He does get it.
I'm excited now.
I'm glad he got it, though.
Yeah, because as I talked about before, this one is kind of building off the last one. There was consideration. He said, you get money in exchange for limiting this activity. That's an exchange of things, of value. So this is a legally binding deal. Because both people signaled that they took it seriously and were doing something about it, and it's all in writing and the letters to each other. So actually, he does get it. So that's a cool thing, right?
Okay, if there were letters. All right, I get it.
I mean, the letters help, but the important thing is that there was an exchange.
Right.
That he said
it was an arrangement.
He said the money is for this activity, and then he did not do said activity. So next case, this one's bananas. So drunk driver going down the street, rolling around at the speed of sound, gets into an accident, hits another car. Nobody's injured between these two cars. Mm-hmm. But the victims, the people who were not drunk, get out of their car to go see if the drunk guy's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And while they're walking across the road to check on him, another car comes and hits and kills one of them.
Whoa!
Shit.
Is anybody in trouble? And who and why?
The guy who killed that person in their car should be charged with vehicular homicide. Well, not homicide. I guess manslaughter. I mean, yes, there were events that the drunk driver did that were super wrong.
I mean,
I'm thinking there's reckless endangerment.
The drunk guy definitely got driving while intoxicated. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
It's about the deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but as awful as I think like driving around drunk and smashing people is, I don't think it's his fault that another car just destroyed that other person, because honestly, like, I mean, I could totally be wrong, but how do I put this?
Jaywalking.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of events lead up to certain other events, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the thing that happened 2 steps before is the fault of the guy in 2 steps before. Like, if I go to
cause and effect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I mean, like, if I go to a convenience store, like, I decide to drive to a convenience store because someone asked me to go get them a thing of milk, and then I get them the thing of milk, and then I get mugged in the parking lot. It's not the person who asked for the milk's fault.
What kind of milk?
It's the guy who mugged me. Yes, I never would have been there if the person who wanted the milk didn't ask me to go there. But it doesn't mean they mugged me. So it means they wanted milk.
So you have a very intuitive sense for what's underlying this, which is that there are 2 causes in a case like this. There's proximate and actual cause. In your milk example, yes, technically someone asking you to get milk is the actual cause of you getting mugged, because without it you wouldn't have got. But there's no proximate cause, so that person would not be responsible for you getting mugged. So here in this case, it's not disputed that the drunk driver is the actual cause of this chain of events. If he wouldn't have been drunk, the person wouldn't have died. But the question is there proximate cause? How close a link is there between the drunk driving and the death? And is that enough to convict someone of causing it? So yeah, you just don't have I've paid the state $100,000 to learn these fancy terms for the thing Leon just knows.
Well, that's just like philosophy and physics.
Yeah,
more than law. But okay, cool.
But so
am I right?
So you're saying that the person who actually did the hitting is in trouble?
For the death, yes, but the person who drunk driving should still be charged with that particular crime.
Johnny?
Yeah, that's how I roll. Like, driving under the influence and reckless endangerment maybe for the drunk guy, and then, the person who did the deed is going to be on the hook for the death.
So the drunk driver obviously gets drunk driving, but they also get arrested, charged, and convicted of causing a death from an intoxicated vehicular incident.
Wow.
But on appeal, it gets reversed and they actually get out. So it's not the person. The person who actually does the hitting, the fatal hitting, doesn't get in trouble at all. That was totally an accident. The state does not go after them.
Isn't that because of like double jeopardy? You can't charge like I can't remember the exact terms, but like someone has already been convicted for something, so you can't do it again? No,
it's not double jeopardy at all. It's just that they went after the person who they thought was responsible, which was the drunk guy.
So once the other person things was overturned, they never said like, let's go after that other guy.
Yeah.
They just let it go.
I mean, prosecutors have the discretion to decide who they want to go after.
Okay.
I mean, the worst you could say about the person who actually did the hitting is maybe that they weren't being careful enough while driving, but that's a pretty easy case if you're a defense attorney to say that the other person was the real cause. Like, that's, it doesn't take much to win that case if you're the defense. So they probably wouldn't even go after that guy. Here's what happens, though, is that the person who was drunk absolutely did a bad thing. They were the actual cause of this death, because if they hadn't been drunk driving, the person would still be alive. So, like, morally, they're a total fuck up. But the state did not present enough evidence to prove the proximate cause that linked the drunk driving to the death. And that's because the prosecutors kind of assumed the jury would just make those connections themselves, because like this is kind of seems like a bad dude. But the idea here from this case is that you actually have to prove the chain of events, the Rube Goldberg stuff, and it might be harder than you think. Because I'm actually surprised. I thought when you guys heard this, you would both immediately be like, "Fuck that drunk driver," like just fuck him into the ground, which is what I think everyone thought. But he ends up getting away.
Definitely fuck him, but not for death.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean, what strikes me is that the person who actually committed the fatality is because you don't need to be drunk to run somebody down in the middle of the road. You could just be a shitty driver.
Or you could be following the rules 100% safely. You could have all your paperwork in order and being totally fine, like the person who ended up causing the death. Like that.
Oh yeah, do we know that? Do you know them, Austin? Huh? Were you there?
They didn't do anything wrong, and they still killed someone. That's what happens sometimes. But yeah, there's this idea that
I don't know. I'm not sure I like that phrase. They didn't do anything wrong, and they still killed someone.
Listen, you could be totally following all the rules, being totally safe and conscientious, and sometimes bad shit just happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So last case, two guys are drag racing, right? They're like, hey, let's race.
No, I don't care.
And then
I'm going to imagine that this is Leon and I.
Yeah.
That we're drag racing right now.
Okay.
Yes, that's definitely something I do.
Me too.
Which one of you?
Kia.
Which one of you wants to be the defendant?
I'll be the defendant.
All right, so you guys are drag racing, and through no fault of either of you, besides the fact that you're engaged in an illegal drag race, you guys crash. And,
yeah, but we live on the edge, man.
Yeah. and Leon dies.
Oh, Leon.
Yeah. It's very sad.
Well, here
hold on.
I podcasted with him.
No, wait a minute. I have a question.
I knew him.
You say it was through. You said it was through no fault of our own, but how did we die? How did I die?
You just crashed.
Did we crash into each other?
No. That's what I was trying to get at. Like, assume that it was just you guys were going very fast, and sometimes cars just say the darndest things. You just crashed and exploded, and only one of you died. The point is that neither of you did it deliberately to each other. But Leon dies.
Okay, so we were in separate cars?
Yes. You can't drag race in the same car.
I'm sure I could if I really tried.
Look, so I have very particular things about this, and I know you're trying to explain it, but I need something clarified. When you say neither is at fault, what I'm trying to say is, did Johnny's car bump into mine at any time?
No, that's
okay.
That's
okay, so
explicitly what I'm trying to disclaim.
Okay, okay. So what we're saying here is that I basically hit a pole or something, and that was on me.
Yeah, I think you both went over a guardrail because you were going too fast to take the turn.
I'm going to carry this guilt with me for the rest of this episode, Leon.
Okay.
Well, not only that, you've now been arrested and charged with murder.
I didn't do it.
I don't feel like that's murder. It was dumb. It was incredibly dumb and also illegal, but I feel like how do I put this?
Yeah, I'm going to plead dumb.
The idiot defense?
Yeah. It wasn't murder. It was stupid.
I feel like for something to be murder, how do I put you might be able to argue manslaughter, but I think isn't it for murder you have to have tried to do it?
You've been charged with vehicular homicide.
Look,
homicide.
Leon knew what he was doing. Okay, he knew the risks.
Yeah, remember that every state has its own little variations,
right?
All the rules. So
I guess that's true.
He was a grown man who could make his own decisions, and I won't take responsibility for the fact that he was a shitty driver.
You also crashed.
You were just.
I am a slightly less shitty driver than he.
Was I just not wearing my seatbelt? Am I that dumb?
You just needed so much speed.
You had to go fast, Leon.
And you had to go furious.
I'm a furious guy.
The landmark case of Vin Diesel v. Sonic the Hedgehog.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We've talked before. Like, someone has to be at fault. Where like how to put like when that thing that came up in a previous case where there's someone in a case where two people are doing something and one of them dies, someone must be at fault. But I have to feel like I am. I decided to do something illegal, and I wasn't like smashing into this dude. I mean, let me put it to you a different way.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you a different way. If I did the exact same thing, go really fast, and went over the thing, and Johnny's car wasn't even there, the exact same thing would have happened. I don't. So in my mind, in that way, I don't see how he's at fault.
But that's not what happened. What happened is
I understand that. So I understand. I understand that's not what happened. What I'm trying to say is, I made my car go fast, and then I went over a cliff, and then I died. Johnny didn't make me go over a cliff. My car did, and I was driving it. He didn't, like, smash into my car.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I've left my punk ass open for a civil suit, but that I walk from the murder charges.
Yeah, I feel like you should definitely be sued for wrongful death. But what I'm trying to say is, trying to figure out, like, the steps that led to this and, like, how culpable someone is and how responsible someone is. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's a difference between if Johnny walked up to me with a hammer and hit me in the head, because that hammer...
Again.
Yeah, and I died. Because that hammer could only be... It's not going to go on its own. But I drove my car over a cliff. Even if it's something I could have done without another car next to me, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I hear you. But once again, think about it in the framing of actual and proximate cause. Yeah. Actually, if you guys hadn't been drag racing, Leon wouldn't have died. So that's established.
Right.
The question is it proximate in the sense that the Rubes Goldberg is not too much for a jury to find it?
That's what I mean. Like, the actual cause, yes. I mean, if we had not been going fast, we would not have gone over that cliff.
Yeah.
And that's why we decided to go fast, to race each other. But I don't feel like Johnny did anything during the race to kill me.
I did flip you off in that one turn, and maybe that, like, really got you angry. Maybe you were like,
okay,
that Johnny.
So, Leon, you think he walks Johnny?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm. Like I said, I think I leave my punk ass open for a civil suit, but I think I walk from the murder charge.
Yeah, you should be charged for something like reckless endangerment, speeding.
Yeah,
that's going to be a hell of a ticket.
Yeah, driving a really gaudy car, because I always knew I never should have got that pink leopard print Charger.
Yeah, the spoiler was pretty sleek though. Johnny, you are convicted of vehicular manslaughter or homicide, in fact.
Wait, homicide?
Yep, vehicular homicide.
Not manslaughter?
No, I misspoke.
Wow.
Homicide.
But
on appeal...
Don't you guys understand?
Yeah.
Leon wanted me to go. It was his last wish.
There's a twist. On appeal?
On appeal, you do win, and you not only go free, you become a lawyer, and you actually turn your whole life around and become, like, really cool, and you write a little excerpt for the law book that I own now.
Nice.
So is this... Okay, so this is not the Austin Yorsky law story.
What do you mean?
Oh, no. I just... For a second there, I thought that was going to go, completely the other way.
Oh, like, it was me the whole time?
And be like, and the name of that lawyer was me all along.
Yeah. There's a wrestling joke about someone saying it was me, Austin, and that's all I know.
Yep. There is.
Yeah. No. So he does eventually get free, and that was 100% true. He did become a lawyer.
See, I told you I'd beat the rap.
But he was convicted at trial because juries can make decisions on stuff like that, and they found...
Yeah, but, man, fuck that jury.
I always have this question about, like, precedent.
Yeah.
Because that precedent was set, doesn't that mean that typically speaking, that argument will be used in court at a later date, and this kind of guy will not get convicted or in the future. I mean, it's for juries, but one would say, hey, look.
Yeah.
No.
So the thing you're talking about is called stare decisis, and for the quick short version is that when a
How
court,
much did you pay for that word?
a lot, like
Jeez.
$10K. And the point is, like, when a court says something, if they're a higher court, you have to listen to them. If you're a lower court, and that's where we get precedent from, is this idea that like certain things are binding, like Supreme Court is the most binding, and then the appeals court below it is less, like so on and so forth. So what ultimately ends up happening is on appeal, the defense uses another case, which I actually have written in my notes here, JAC v. State, in which a passenger in a car grabbed the wheel, the steering wheel, as a joke, causing a crash, and then the passenger died, and it was ruled that the passenger essentially committed suicide. Obviously, they didn't mean to, but legally speaking, they committed suicide, and the driver didn't do anything wrong. And they use that case. They cite that case saying, this is why Johnny should walk free in this case, is because of this other precedent. And so that's why they went on appeal, and then therefore if a similar case came up, someone could cite Johnny's case.
Free Johnny, free Johnny,
Yeah.
free Johnny.
And that's why certain, I don't know how closely our listeners follow like the news and stuff, but if you hear about like a big Supreme Court case that happened, why that's important is no one can go higher than that. And so everything below that has to follow that rule. And that's kind of where we get like this cascading authority thing, which is the point of the judicial branch in theory, although let's see how long that lasts.
On a tangential note, this weekend deal, everybody. Buy one Johnny, get one free.
Yeah. So that's Law Corner this week. I have questions, but if you guys have any topics you want to hit before we get there.
Oh, we have I have to fulfill our required Pope talk this week.
Oh, you've
I
watched
started
Young
watching The
Pope.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen like the first 3 or 4 episodes. I'll have to check that. I think 3.
All right, brief me, Your Holiness.
Is Jude Law fuckability scale 1 to 10? 10 being enemy at the gates, 1 being when he was cheating on his wife in real life.
I'm gonna say 9.
Damn.
Just because he looks real good, but what keeps it from being a 10? He's a real asshole in this.
I've heard.
And the interesting thing about the show, at least so far, is not only is he an asshole, but we don't know all his motivations.
So he's a secretive pope.
He's not only a secretive pope, like, to the audience, meaning we don't get, there's no like internal monologue, and he'll say the opposite things to different people.
So he's an obfuscating pope.
I don't want to like spoil anything, but he wants to be the Banksy of popes. He doesn't want anyone to be able to see him. He never doesn't want ever to travel. He always wants to be in silhouette. He's very weird. The dialogue is, how do I put this? It's purposefully goofy dialogue in dire situations. It is Twin Peaks in the Vatican, only a little more dire and just a little less goofy.
Yeah.
To give you like an idea, one of the first scenes is the Pope saying, someone gives the Pope breakfast, and he says, "Where's my cherry Coke Zero?" And at first I'm like, that's pretty obvious product placement. But here's the thing. He then goes on to bash another Coke product. So I'm like, oh no, they just really wanted to say that. And he keeps saying it. I need my cherry Coke Zero. And someone says, will a Diet Coke be sufficient? And he says, we must never, ever stoop so low. We must always go for the highest thing. It's like the whole show is like this. And it's very pretty. It is a beautiful show. You know how I always say, it doesn't look like a TV show, and that's important to me. It looks like a movie, the way that TV shows should look now. Jude Law's in it, and Diane Keaton's in it, and the guy I always forget his name, but he's like this like character actor who everyone recognizes when he's in it. He plays the guy who like should have been Pope but isn't Pope.
What guy was he in? Now I'm curious. What was he in? This character actor.
Everything.
Just name something he was in. Never mind. I'll look it up.
He was in The West Wing as a former president. He was in 6 Feet Under as the guy that the mom marries.
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell. There you go. He's into everything. I just can't remember his name. But yeah, like good acting. Everyone is very cool. It's very mysterious. It's very weird. It's the goofy. It's like I said, like everything is like super serious, and the goofiness just sort of like happens. Like he'll just occasionally wink into the camera. It's like, okay, this is happening, young Pope. I waited for 3 episodes for someone to say the words "young Pope." Like occasionally they'll say he's young, and sometimes they'll say he's Pope. But I think in the 3rd episode someone says, "Oh, he's a very young Pope." Like, yeah, there he did it. I'm very purposefully trying not to actually talk very much about what it's about. Because I hope that one day you two watch the show and we can discuss it further. But I just want to say, Young Pope is very, very good.
I can get down on Young Pope.
Okay. It's just really cool. Yeah. It's a really cool show.
I want to watch it. I don't have access to HBO, but I actually exclaimed when you were explaining it because what I had heard was exactly what you said. Twin Peaks and the Vatican. Like, no one apparently acts like people or talks like people, but it's, like, really beautiful and, like, hypnotizing, which sounds like really interesting.
Yeah.
On that note, like, Leon, have you finished watching Twin Peaks yet?
No, I have not. I'm nearly done the 1st season, which is a fairly short season, and then I'll watch the 2nd and last season, which is noticeably longer.
That's cool. I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm keeping tabs on this shit. That's all.
No, it's okay. I'll be done before
May rolls around.
The 3rd season, in May.
All right.
So everything's fine. All right. I don't have too much else to talk about today. I thought I destroyed my computer earlier. I don't know if that's interesting. I turned it on, and there was no picture. I mean, the computer was working. All the lights were fine. And I plugged my phone into it just to make sure it was actually working. And yes, it I got a charge and everything, and I could all that. And I was like, and I tried a bunch of different things, like the HDMI cable and all kinds of other stuff. And then I thought, wait a minute, what if I turn it off and then just turn it back on? And it fixed it. Or at least it fixed it for the moment. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's
troubling.
That's not good news.
No,
I mean,
of course not.
Did you get a? I'm gonna go geek here for just a minute.
That's fine.
Did you get a BIOS posting? You know, when you turn your computer on for the first time, usually a bunch of text comes up. It'll have like a RAM count, your chip manufacturer, usually your motherboard manufacturer, things like that. Just basic like DOS text, right?
Yeah. The stuff that came up that always comes up where it says like, oh, this is the thing and this is the version
so
of
that
blah, blah,
that
blah,
did
blah.
pop up then.
I don't know because I turned it on and walked into the other room to like get myself dinner, and then I came back in because usually it takes about 2 minutes for it to be completely up, and because it's an old computer and it's Windows 7. But I came back in
alive.
like,
how do you live?
Oh, it's so good. And then I looked at the screen. I'm like, it's usually up by now. It's like, maybe because it's cold. I don't know. And then I waited a few minutes, like, oh, it's just not going to happen. And then I fiddled with
Computers
it.
work better in the cold.
I'm saying the opposite of never mind.
Okay.
Next time you start it up, do me a favor, stick around and watch. Because you want to make sure that text comes up. If that text doesn't come up, then it's usually a hardware problem. Like your RAM is messed up, your your motherboard might even be messed up. Whereas like if you get that text and then it just kind of like hangs, that might be a hard drive spool up problem or like a data corruption thing or something like that, which would be easier to fix and also cheaper. Because if you just have to get a new hard drive, not as big a deal. But if if it's your motherboard, boned.
Yes. I know about motherboards. That's always the thing that they need to hack into in 90s movies.
Nope.
That's
the mainframe.
That was one of the problems with 90s movies. Actually, they were hacking into things that they had no business hacking into, like GUIs and things like that.
The important thing is that when they were in, they said we're in.
Yeah,
and that's when you knew that they were in.
Yeah. There were some very, very obvious verbal cues. I watched the new Netflix show Santa Clarita Diet with Timothy Olyphant and Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny.
Good.
I like those people.
It was really quite funny, and I did not know how funny Timothy Olyphant was, because almost everything I've seen him in, he plays like a brooding badass man of like very few words, like you're Deadwood and you're Justified and things like that.
And you're Hitman.
I'd never watched that because I have self-respect.
Yeah, that's good.
I did not watch the second Hitman either because I continue to have self-respect as my life goes on. But it was a very funny show. It was very amusing. Okay. I was delighted by it. In fact, like I plowed through it in an afternoon on pretty much all of Sunday. Oh. I started it. I was like, I wonder if this is any good. And then like by the end of the night, I was like, I'm done. And I never really do that with shows. I'm always like, I watch 2 episodes. I'm like, there's something else I have to do now. I've got to go, I don't know, brush egg white on a loaf of bread or something like that.
That's some Johnny funny. Ass.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
But it was good. It was really quite funny. I laughed quite a bit. Yeah. So.
All right. So you guys want to do questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at them here, and one requires, I think, you two to maybe brush up on it before we start talking. So I dropped.
All right.
I'm dropping a link in the chat while I answer one that appears to be just for me. So here goes the link for you. And we got a question here from J.M. Bowles, who says, what are your thoughts on Iron Maiden's 3 vocalists? Deano, Dickinson, and Bailey. Deano was only there for, I think, their first album or something, and I'm not crazy about that one. It's pretty good live when they play those songs, obviously with Dickinson, who is the undisputed best. Dickinson is phenomenal. I don't even... Is that in dispute? Has anyone ever expressed any opinion contrary to that? I'm not aware of it. And obviously Bailey is on like 1 or 2 bad albums. So that's a pretty easy question. But if you're curious, Dickinson is not only the best Iron Maiden vocalist, he also can fly planes, which is cool. Do you guys know about this?
I don't know anything you just said. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The vocalist of one of the best metal bands of all time is a pilot as well.
That's neat, I guess.
He's very cool and good. So that was my question. Have you guys read up on this thing that someone else asked about that I definitely want to talk about? I just wasn't sure if you guys were aware of it.
Yes, actually, I had been aware of this.
Okay. Cosmignon on Twitter, who's also a phenomenal artist. They probably need a nickname for questions on this show. I don't know. We'll think about something in the future. But right now, they want to know, what are your thoughts on
The Ink Master General.
Okay, that's definitely an option. I was thinking like the modern Picasso or something, and you made it way cooler. Mine was going to be like very dignified. Their question is, what are your thoughts on Snagglepuss, the gay Southern Gothic playwright? Hanna-Barbera has recently rebooted B-tier cartoon character Snagglepuss as Tennessee Williams, I guess?
More or less.
Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I look, you sent me the link as if I didn't know about this.
I was just making sure.
As if I don't have a Tumblr. Come on.
Fair.
Look, I mean, it's all walking animals and gay. So what the point is, how do I feel about it? Cool, I guess. But I mean, I don't really read comic books anymore, not for many years. If I started again, it probably wouldn't be stuff that's not, like DC Comics or something. Kind of cool, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know anything. I haven't read the comic. I've only read like the first page that everyone is showing or to everyone.
But do you have any thoughts? Because like Snagglepuss's traditional depiction is kind of like an effeminate, mincing stereotype.
This is the only thing that bothers me about the whole thing is everybody is reporting it as a reboot or a reimagining or something like that, and I'm like, no, he's just coming out.
Right.
Like it's always been this way. Come on.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it's kind of like, hey, which character should we make gay to connect with the cool teens. How about that one that's kind of a homophobic joke?
Well, you could say it like that, or the genesis of this could be someone who really likes Snagglepuss saying, "I always thought, Snagglepuss was great, and Snagglepuss is gay, so let's make a great gay comic book out of Snagglepuss." So
I hope that's the case. Yeah,
you can claim it, you can own it, right? Like it's you can take it back.
Yeah.
That's something that is like completely and totally available.
I guess I'm just cynical about corporations trying to appeal to, like, as you say, the Tumblr crowd, the gay walking animal crowd, by being disingenuous.
I don't think that's the only thing you're cynical of, though, Austin, to be fair.
Well, this is DC. This is Hanna-Barbera owns the character, and it's a DC comic book.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think we all know kind of what modern DC thinks about its characters. It hates them and it resents them.
At least their motion picture division.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say much about their actual day-to-day operations in like the comic offices. I should like to think that they're. It's been a long time since I've read a DC comic, but I should like to think that they're a little bit more developed than their movie counterparts.
Yeah, I would assume.
I've also seen on my social media feed furries criticizing the art and being like, why didn't you just hire furry artists who are good at this? And I don't actually know enough about art to say whether it's good or not. It looks fine to me, but I'm a layman. I think all art is pretty cool and miraculous. So, but if you have criticisms of that, I'd be interested in hearing it. But I think the idea is that people in my social media feed who are like in the kind of queer arts community culture were saying you're profiting off of the furry community, but you're not employing furry artists. It's, like diversity in characters is important, but diversity in creators is also important.
This is the thing. The thing is that I think they're obviously trying to hit as wide a market as they possibly can with it. I imagine they would have had a conversation about this. I mean, if they've been on the internet ever at all.
You think they're trying to hit the mass market with gay Southern Gothic Snagglepuss? This seems like a niche product.
Think that they're trying to hit they're probably just trying to hit a wider market. I'm not sure this is like specifically targeted, but I think it would be easy to see as being specifically targeted, like you said, because the character is so specific.
Awesome.
But
when you said diversity in creators is important, I absolutely agree. But here's the thing: again, like talking walking animals pre-exist this particular culture. Like, for example, if I make a doodle of a turtle and the turtle is saying hi, I don't feel like I'm appropriating furry culture. I'm thinking about cartoons that I've seen that pre-exist this particular subculture.
Yeah, and gay people have existed since the beginning of time, but it'd be nice if gay people could get paid to make art.
Of course. But again, I don't feel like that's exactly the same thing.
Listen, it's not one-to-one. My point is that this is a criticism I've seen, so I just thought we could talk about it. It's like something with Dice Funk that I'm really proud of, is that like not only do we have gay characters, but we've had like a queer person as a player on every season so far, and I'd like to keep that going, which is cool. I think we should just be mindful of that, and when possible, allow those people to live and make rent and afford food and shelter.
I hate to be the voice that says something that might be insensitive, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure this counts as. I'm not sure that Snagglepuss is furry culture. I think he's had. I'm sorry. I think he's just a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
That's gonna have to be the name of this episode. Is Snagglepuss furry culture?
It might. Either
we'll
that
say
or
that to the comments.
I don't know. And look, I mean, if you make the argument that he is, and you can convince me, then I'll say, yeah, maybe. But I just don't feel like
making an anthropomorphic talking animal is not necessarily explicitly furry, but if you're trying to take advantage of a furry market without paying furry creators, there's maybe something to examine there.
Absolutely. I will absolutely agree with that. But
yeah, that's that's apt.
But the hard part about that is it assumes that we could know intent. That makes intent very, very important, and that would be very difficult to determine.
It's DC Comics, so I'm going to go out and say the intent is to make money.
Yeah, the intent is definitely to make money. What I'm trying to say is the guy who had this idea, is it more likely that the guy who had this idea or lady or whatever said, hey, you know what would be cool if we do a Snagglepuss comic book, and I mean, let's face it, he's probably gay. Let's make a cool Snagglepuss gay comic about the 50s. Wouldn't that be cool and like weird and subversive and politically relevant? And wouldn't that make money, do you think? And someone might have said, yes. Now, that a version of that conversation seems to me at least vaguely likely.
I imagine if the goal is to make money, and I don't want to reduce groups here, but if the person holding the purse strings was approached and was like, "Yeah, we want to make a furry comic," I think the person at DC would have said, "No."
Right. That's kind of what I mean.
I don't think that's going to sell. It's like I think for the comic to get off the ground, yeah, it does have to be like politically relevant. Obviously, the writing has to be good, the art has to be good. You know, all the things that make a good comic book have to be there. But to sell it to the person who writes the check and says, "Yeah, great, hire what you need," the pitch and the intent of the comic book can't have been, I want to make a furry comic about a giant pink gay 1950s playwright cat.
I'm glad that we solved this, the three of us, these three white men, and we have solved representation.
I can understand being upset about it, because that's like, I mean, there's a very specific area of a Venn diagram here that I'm thinking of in my head, and it's sizable. But at the same time, I still have to say with Leon, I don't think this is a targeted production. And while they may be profiting off like a portion of the audience being interested because of furry life or
hashtag fur
whatever
life,
whatever you want to call the movement,
fur for life.
Yeah, I can't commit to saying that it's exploitative.
Yeah.
All right, so we used up the entire question period on one question, which is...
Oh, we got more time. Come on, we got a couple more minutes.
All right. So Melissa asks, what's the difference between a funny conversationalist, that was harder to say than I thought, and a funny writer? Is there a difference?
Absolutely.
100%, yeah. I know some people who can tell an amazing story who cannot write a complete grammatical sentence.
Mm-hmm. And moreover than that, one of the most important things about being a conversationalist is being able to hold a conversation. That's a lot different from telling a story.
Yeah. Writers are monologuers.
When you are writing, you are in complete control of the pace, the direction, timing, word choice, absolutely everything. But when you are having a conversation with somebody, you need to be able to take the ball and run with it in directions that somebody else is going to dictate. There's nothing more tedious in conversations than somebody who walks over everything that you say, anything that you say, and says, "Well, back to what I was talking about." Because it's not interactive. There's no give and take. It's not kinetic, and conversations are very kinetic, whereas writing can be many different things.
And here's the part where we edit in us talking over each other and saying things like "back to what I was talking about" to make a good ass point.
But that doesn't that doesn't.
No, hold on. I was talking.
That does not dictate the spirit of the cast that we do or the conversations that we have.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about doing a tabletop show is it's like creative writing, but it's a conversation form of that. So my favorite parts are when like Skitch is like, "I'm going to do this crazy magic thing," and then Drop is like, "I'm going to add to this with my own flavor," and then Leon makes a good joke, and it's like that you could write something good and close to that, but it's never going to have the same kind of spontaneous spark that it does as a conversation, and that makes it like special.
I got news for you, Austin. My jokes are written way ahead of time.
Yeah, you write stuff and you get to say them like half the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm the other end of this. Like, long-term listeners of my work know that I can write a joke. I am not funny in person. I'm not a funny person. I think I can think of funny things to say ahead of time and craft them and then say them in a way that sounds spontaneous, but they are definitely not. It's like how Christopher Guest writes, really funny movies, and he that's his work, but apparently he is just miserable in person and like is not funny. He just happens to be good at writing jokes.
But I think in a way some of the comedy of you being on our improv show is that you never know what's going on or what to say. That's like also kind of funny in its own way.
Well, I mean, if in the sense that people can laugh at me. Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. That is true. I'm a living joke. Mm-hmm. We can do one more.
We can do one more?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. I'm looking at some that are like, I don't have answers to. Some are conversational. I'm trying to think of a really good one.
Here.
Yeah.
Pitch me 3 in a row, and I'll give you fast answers.
Okay. Lightning round just for Johnny.
Yeah.
Consumerist Skeleton says, what do you put on your fries?
Garlic aioli.
Okay. Jade wants to...
Usually mixed in with some kind of spice.
Jade wants to know, favorite horror movie or game?
Ooh, favorite horror game? Probably Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Favorite horror movie? Ooh, it might be It Follows, actually. I need to watch it again, but I haven't been able to forget that movie since I saw it last. If not that, probably... fuck it. John Carpenter's The Thing. That's it.
Okay. Saryurtha wants to know, what's your opinion on stuffed crust pizza?
Oh, so good.
That went really well.
You ask me 3 completely different questions.
Okay. Faltering Footsteps wants to know, does Leon plan to watch any other anime since he enjoyed Yuri on Ice so much?
Not at the present time. Go. Next.
Okay. I'm just going to start giving you the hard ones because that's funny.
Yeah.
Yes, 3208 asks, what's the difference between love, sex, and intimacy?
You are asking the wrong person.
Leon's like, are you going to pass on that? Is that going to me? Can I steal?
You're going to have to.
No one can stop you.
I've been in love. I've been in love once. I feel intimacy with a lot of people, but I don't. It's difficult for me to tell the difference between platonic and romantic intimacy. Sex is just a thing that happens to me sometimes. The end.
I was waiting for Johnny to steal.
Steal.
No, that pretty much sums it
up. I did know the answer. Nice.
Yeah, love is a deep attachment that grows over time. Intimacy is an ability to connect with somebody, and yeah, sex is really a physical action.
Sometimes it just happens to you.
It really does. Every time I've ever, with rare exception, with every time I've ever had sex, I wasn't trying to. It's just like a thing that it's just a thing that sort of occurs. Sometimes other people want to have sex, and I'm like, I have time. So, I mean.
Because here's the thing: is you can be intimate with people that you don't love. You can have sex with people that you're not intimate with. And you can love someone that you don't have sex with or don't have a chance to be intimate with. Like there are 3 different things.
Yeah, sex is not the most intimate thing. This is not my joke, but this is a joke that I've heard once. Sex is not the most intimate thing you can have with someone. And the joke was, me and my girlfriend once buried our cat together. That was a way more intimate moment, and that was a great joke.
What's a really awkward intimate moment for me is washing your hands in the same sink with someone in a bathroom.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Why?
Just like if, you've been doing something, your hands get dirty, and you're both like, the only sink around is like the bathroom. Because at my work, there's like a bathroom right next to the entrance where we go in the door. But it's a single occupancy bathroom and the door locks, so it's like when people get their hands dirty, they go in there, wash their hands because the other sink is like way across the building. Yeah. So people will stand in this like single occupancy bathroom and like wash their hands together, and it's a really intimate moment, but so awkward.
I would never do that. Like, I would just
Yeah,
wait.
you see, because
I would wait in
it's an
line.
intimate thing. It's an intimate moment.
I would wait in line. If I were washing my hands in the sink and someone just came over and just started doing it at the same time, I would think they're from Mars. What are you doing? This is completely uncut.
I just like sharing moments of closeness with people.
You gotta build up to that. I feel. Oh, I did remember one instance in my life in which I tried to have sex and did. Like on purpose. Like I was intending to do it, and then it happened. I didn't like it.
This show is a minefield for me personally, because a lot of it's like, let's talk about video games and politics, but every like 30 episode I have to listen to how Leon just like straight blasted a clit, and it's like traumatizing for me every time.
Oh, Austin.
I don't know how much blasting there was. It's just,
You kids and your puritanical attitudes.
No, it just sneaks. It's like a minefield, but the mines are so far away that I'm like getting comfortable after the last one when I step on the next one. And Leon's like, no, I just get in there and I'm just doing my thing, and I'm like really good at it. I'm just not psychically prepared for him to just be there. Funnily enough, there's not enough foreplay.
Have you got like maybe one question for all of us now that you've briefed?
that I've briefed? There's this...
Oh, you know, like, you were looking for a good one.
There's this thing going on in the question thread about avocados. Have I talked about this before? People keep asking me about questions about avocados, and then I'll ask them on the show because I don't know what to do with them, and then I get questions about why I'm not asking the questions about avocados, as if I'm, like, stifling this movement that the people are trying to... Like, I don't know what the joke is.
Austin,
Yeah.
Are you censoring avocado questions?
I think I'm being trolled.
yeah, I think you're being trolled. I don't think
Okay.
there's anything particularly special about avocados. If someone put avocado on something I'm eating, I'll be like, fine, I will put this into my face. But I'm never like, I could really go for it right now. It's just that's not a thing that goes through my head.
They are yummy.
Do you guys actually
Okay.
want to answer another one, or you guys
Sure.
want to call it today?
I'm okay for one more.
I can do one more too.
Let's just do a light, non-controversial one. Matthew Hare asks, how do you think the left can better market themselves? Because the alt-right is explicitly targeting angry teenagers. So you guys just solve American politics for me right quick. I'm just going to go get a drink. You guys just knock this one out.
Well,
Okay.
here, you know what's funny is we're getting angry all on our own, as it turns out, as a response. So maybe we'll course correct ourselves. When people say like what can the left do? There's no leader. There's
just no American left. The Democratic Party is centrist.
Yeah. The American left is
Here's what we can do. We can have an American left. Have we tried that? It's been a while.
We could look, and that's the sort when people say like, "What do liberals need to do?" Like, there's no like chieftain who can like make these decisions. And I'm sorry, but like every once in a while, like someone on my Twitter feed who like I will respect enough to follow anyway, will say something like, "Oh, the left just fucked everything up because here's all the things that they did wrong. They need to blank." I'm like, okay, let's all get in a room. The things we can try to change are systemic and legal. Things culturally, I don't really know how you do that on your own, or even in a group. I mean, it's hard to how do I put this? It's hard. Oh, actually, I can explain this. Someone once, I read a book once. And
Just once.
Yeah, just once. I read a book once, in which there was a choice between Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, and one of the things that Jimmy Carter would say to bolster his case that he should remain president was that under his presidency there had been peace. There had been relative peace, not completely, because there never really is, but there had been relative peace, and he said something along the lines of, "There's peace all over the world," and that was not good, because that doesn't motivate people. What does motivate people was Ronald Reagan talking about evil empires, because that will make people jump up. Peace makes people calm. And when they're calm, they don't go to the polls. When they're calm, they assume they don't have to do anything. And that's a really terrible thing, but it's not true. And when you're trying to make teenagers the alt-right, you can give them something to hate. When you're trying to make teenagers leading heart liberals, it's harder to lead with peace, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There aren't a lot of great movies that are about people being happy all the time. Because the essence of drama is conflict.
Yeah, just two thoughts on this real quick. One is I read a really interesting piece earlier this week about how Hillary Clinton had like a really comprehensive plan for both like taxes and education and stuff, and how they were really well thought out, and they were on paper seemed like they would work, but they were not marketable. Like, it's not something you can explain to anyone. They don't get people excited. And some things with like Obamacare, like it's not sexy, it's hard to like sell, but things like drain the swamp, build the wall, repeal and replace, like those are punchy. They fit on bumper stickers and hats and shirts.
Branding.
Yeah, and I've talked before about how it might be gauche to think of this as marketing, but if there is an American left, it is being absolutely stomped flat in the marketing department, because a lot of people on the left want good ideas, and they want morality and thoughtfulness and kindness and peace, and that stuff's boring. Like, being charitable and thoughtful and helpful is boring, and people want excitement, they want drama, they want villains, and it's just like, I don't know that there's any solution for that besides being a gauche idiot on TV to get attention. I don't have a solution for you. The other thing was that I was talking earlier this week with two African American lawyers, and I mostly listened. I was like in the conversation, and like I piped up like once or twice. But one of them was arguing about Martin Luther King's legacy, and the other one was talking about Malcolm X, and they were like vehemently disagreeing on whether each of their legacies was like exaggerated, or like how necessary that they were, or how they would be perceived today. And I mostly listened, but I found it very interesting how things that seem incredibly important at the time can be dismissed later in hindsight, and how people don't learn from the past. We talked about this with accelerationism. Like, you can have something spelled out for you in cataclysmic nuclear letters, and I don't think it would changes people's behavior. And I think great leaders and great activists rise and fall all the time, and then we just go back and do the same stuff. I think that's super depressing, and I'm sorry, but if there's a way to market ourselves, we might have to just do the same thing again that we did before. Remember when everyone got shot with hoses and shot at protests and pepper sprayed, and there was war and stuff? Like, it might just happen again.
I got news for you, Austin. There's still war and stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking specifically of like Kent State, Vietnam era.
Yeah, I know.
Repeating, but yeah, that's not a very happy answer.
Yeah.
But it's like, Johnny,
I gotta take something that kind of like both of you touched on, but like independently of each other.
Okay.
And that's Leon saying that drama and conflict create things, and Austin branding. It's really easy for people to get up to the podium and say, "We're doing it, we did it." Like, it's fantastic to be like, "Oh, the crime rate's the lowest, blah 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 in many years." But we have to be like, we got to keep it that way. We have to work. We have to be able to look at achievements and good things that we've done as not necessarily things that are finished. We can't just be like, well, ACA, Affordable Care Act, done, hands wiped, out, took care of it, yep. It's the best it's ever been. Like vigilance and willing to actually fight to keep the things that we deserve to have is important. And refusal to engage is a big problem, it's particularly with the left, because when the left achieves something, they go, "Oh man, we did it." Yeah, like we got the vote for women, we got the vote for black people and anti-discrimination. We did it. It's no, you didn't.
You got it for now.
Yeah.
It's not over. It's never fucking over.
I guess more of my problem was that it doesn't matter if Obamacare is good or helps people or has kept thousands of people from dying. The important thing is that we said it had problems, which was all that it took for everyone to decide it was bad. You have to almost, I don't want to advocate lying, but you have to present a front that you are always right, because the left is very quick to concede when their side isn't perfect, and that is often perceived as weakness. Where
they do need to grow a spine a little bit.
I guess I don't know. I don't know where the line is.
The joke that I keep seeing around the internet right now is the "so much for the tolerant left" captions on cartoons. You've seen these?
Yeah.
I've seen Captain America punching Hitler, and the little speech bubbles "so much for the tolerant left." Or oh God, what was the other one? I saw a GIF of the Millennium Falcon racing away from the exploding Death Star, and it's so much for the tolerant left.
Did you guys see the picture I posted earlier of a real truck I took a picture of, which on the side said "Death is near"?
I did not see that.
It's on my Twitter account. I took a picture of it. It's a real truck in Tallahassee. And now that you've said that, I'm definitely picturing it with the caption, "So much for the tolerant left."
But that's that's the thing, is that that is an insult, or that is an opening to an insult, or a ridicule, or whatever you want to call it, that left-minded people have opened themselves up to. I think Carl Sagan was the one responsible for saying that it's important to keep an open mind, but not a mind so open that your brain falls out.
Yeah.
Is that we do have to be able to stand up and say, we want to make things better, and we want to hear different ideas, and we want to hear different voices, and we want inclusiveness, but get the fuck out of my house if you bring a KKK uniform in here.
Yeah. The Democratic Party is very fixated on being seen as reasonable adults, which is a good way to lose a lot of elections, because people don't give a shit if you're a reasonable adult. They want you to win, and they want you to crush your opponents, and
they want to see you fight for them.
Yeah.
That's what they want. People want champions. They want heroes, and as ridiculous as it is to think that everybody who's going to be elected to office has to be a hero, you kind of got to look like one. You got to look like you're gonna, step up for them.
It's no coincidence that two of the
Julia Stiles did in that movie. Step up.
2 of the last 4 Republican presidents have been actors. Showmanship is very important.
Jesus Christ.
Don't you think? Am I talking about
yes, I just forgot for a second that was true.
I mean, look, shit's weird out there, guys.
Sure is.
Okay, so last thing, if you guys want to end this show so we can get back to our lives.
I guess.
Quick question to change the tone as we end. Pruitt Holcomb says, do you guys mind when people send you random thoughts, info, questions on Twitter, or is it annoying?
No, I don't mind. But I probably get it in less quantities than Leon probably
Leon's
does.
choosing his words very carefully. I wish I had time to answer everybody. I have 2 jobs and I'm a full-time student, so I don't mind in theory. I just feel bad because sometimes I don't get around to answering people, and then I kind of come off like a jerk. I try. I do my best. I would love to talk to everyone.
I read all your comments. That's the truth of it. There are. I'm just going to check right now, real quick. On my latest video, there are, come on, load, 398 comments so far. It's only been up for about 2 days. I have read all of them and have approved all of them except 2 because they were about defending the murder of a black child.
How have the comments been on your latest video, Leon? That probably was a thing.
Actually, super good. With rare exception. There are 1,337 thumbs up and 85 thumbs downs. You would
so much for the tolerant left.
Right. So actually quite good. But yeah, it's fine. To answer the question, that's part of my job. It is literally part of my job to be everyone in the company, and that includes customer support, and that includes human resources, and everything else. And that means if you are tweeting something at me that is related to my show, I will almost certainly answer it. If it is random, like, do you like brown shoes? I might, just because I'd be fascinated about why you would ask, but I might not. If it is definitely related to my show, it's definitely getting an answer. If it's related to film in general, probably. If it's about dildos, maybe not, because I don't have strong opinions. And that's
about dildos.
Yeah. If it's about my show, I'm going to at the very least read it carefully. If it's about other stuff, less and less chance. That's what I can do with my time. All my time is about the stuff that I do. That's it.
Good episode, guys.
Okay. Anything you guys want to say right before we go?
Computer and simulation.